the teacher, a teacher is talented, teacher is efficient, with a positive attitude, with a very good character, humble in nature, always encouraging his or her students and being responsible. And responsible for what? Can anyone in the audience tell me in what way a teacher is responsible? Responsible for the overall development of the student, whether it is academic development, whether it is development in its extracurricular activities, extra academic activities, any sort of activities, the overall development is the responsibility of a teacher. What is the prime duty of a teacher? If a teacher is entering in a class with a motto that today I am going in this class, and with this very class, what is my motto? What I am going to deliver in the class? What is the syllabi of the subject that he or she is teaching? And what exactly is the prime duty of a teacher? To cover the syllabus. Are you agreeing with me, audience? Okay. But in my opinion, a teacher is not there in the class to cover the syllabus. Then what should be the prime duty of a teacher? It is to uncover the syllabus. With its deep knowledge, deep understanding, and deep approach to learning. We are going in the class, we are having some sessions, we are having some particular topics. In that particular topic, what exactly we are doing? We are having a topic, we are telling what are the basically contained with the help of their lecture plans, with the help of their teaching methodologies. What exactly should be the teaching methodology? It may be experiential learning method, it may be project-based learning method, it may be some assessment methods, there may be formative assessments, there may be summative assessment, anything. There are the different strategies through which teacher can teach in the class. But our prime duty is to uncover the syllabus. What do you mean by uncover the syllabus? We have to take each and every single topic. We have to go deep in that particular topic and teach the students what exactly is the significance of that topic and how we can correlate that topic with the real life example and the real life applications. A very basic thing that defines the personality of a teacher is that a good teacher is always a very good learner. If you are not a good learner, you cannot be called as a good teacher. Great teachers. What exactly great teachers are? You must be having some memories of your teachers in your mind from the very beginning of your lifetime. There are some teachers who have affected you in any manner in a very positive way. Or some might be there who have very negative impression in your mind. So what exactly teachers are doing? They are making memories. Whether they are good or bad, but teachers are making memories. Teachers are building very good relationship with these students from the very beginning of their life, academic life. Good teaching is as much about passion as it is about reason. Why anyone is going in teaching job? Because one must be passionate about teaching. If a teacher is not passionate about its profession, he or she cannot be a good teacher. Good teaching is also about substances and treating students as consumers of knowledge. What exactly teaching is? Teaching is you're transferring your knowledge from you with the students through a proper channel. And what that channel is, that may be a classroom, that may be online method, anything. Good teaching is about listening. If you are not a good listener of the queries of your students, you cannot be a good teacher. You must be questioning your students about your deliverables. You must be being responsive about the queries of students And remembering that each student in class is different. It is very important. There is a single teacher. There are many of students, like you may be having 30, 50, 60 students in your classes. Class is same. Teachers are different. Number of students are different. But in a class, if there is single teacher, some of percentage of students are saying the teacher is very good. Some of saying the teacher is average, and some of saying the teacher is below average. How that happens? So you must know what exactly is the label of your class. What exactly is the label of your student? Good teaching is not always having a fixed agenda and being rigid, but being flexible, experimental. You should be fluid in your teaching and having the confidence and flexibility to react and adjust the changing circumstances. Today, we are going towards the national education policy, and you must be aware about that we all are following the outcome-based education. Can anyone in the audience tell me the difference between the output-based education and outcome-based education? Anyone from the audience? Okay, what do you mean by the output-based education? In output-based education, you are having a fixed syllabi, you are assessing the students, and at the end of the semester or end of the annual academic year, you are assessing the student by some examination, and student is scoring. That score is the output. And if we talk about the outcome-based education, there are certain parameters which are fixed. And those parameters are defined before the starting of the semester or before the academic session. And a teacher is supposed to achieve those particular outcomes. Likewise, earlier in our Gurukuls, what exactly being happened? There are certain vidyas which are being taught by their gurus, and at the end of their session, at the end of their span, a student is being assessed by their gurus, and that particular span is now time bound. Likewise, you must have heard the story of Dronacharya and Arjuna. When after completing the education of Arjuna, when Arjuna said that I am good enough, sir, you can give me the degree. Then what Dronacharya did? Then you have to pass a test. And what test he was talking about? To kill a bird by seeing its eye. There were many students, some answered something, but only the Arjuna was said that he was only aiming at the word. The word was only visible to him. That was the best example of outcome-based education. Our next point is good teaching is also about style. What style you are following for your students, and that style should be varied in accordance with the feedback of the students. So it is the prime responsibility of a teacher to take the feedback from the students in a particular time span. It may be 7 days, it may be 15 days, it may be 20 days, but it should not be more than 15 days in practicality. Why is it so? Because if you are teaching in a certain pace with a certain style and students are not getting your points, then you have to have some strategy so that you can have the some inputs from the students that whatever you are delivering in your class, whether that is understandable by the students or not. So what should be the procedure? You must be having a question paper, must be having a format, some feedback questionnaire. And that question had to be answered by each and every student so that you can have a log that in what place, in what particular parameters your teaching is being lagging. So that it can be filled and you can change your style of teaching so that each and every student is being benefited. One more very important. A good teaching is about humor also. Your class should not be serious all the time. There should be some fun element to be included in your class so that your class is not being monotonous all the time. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill the love of learning. Good teaching is also about caring, nurturing, and developing minds and talents. It is supported by strong and visionary leadership and very tangible institutional support. It is very important that institutional support is also required for a good teacher. Good teaching is about mentoring between senior and junior faculty, teamwork, and being recognized and promoted by one's peers. If you are having your senior teachers in your academic institution or anywhere, what you're supposed to do, you can have some guidance from them because experience matters. Experience tells you that what should be the method so that each and every student is being monitored in your class. I want to tell you very basic of maintaining the discipline or maintaining the decorum of your class that one should know the names of each and every single student of their classes. Recently, a teacher came to me and he said that, Sir, I am facing a problem. And that problem is that students are not very attentive in my class. Even though I am delivering very good, my content is very good, my pace is very good, my method of teaching is very good, even though my students are not listening very carefully. Only 50% of the students are listening carefully, rest 70% are only coming for the attendance. The very first question I asked to him, can you bring your attendance register to me? He came with his attendance register and I asked, there are 60 students in your class. How many students do you know by their names? Can you name any 20 or 30 students? Believe me, he was not able to tell even the 5 students' name of his class. Then this should be the primary reason that if a teacher is not making a contact, not making a connect with their student, then why we are expecting from the student that they will hear from us. So this is a very basic thing that there should be a proper connect with the students, and that can be done with the very basic thing that students should be aware about their class student. Teacher should be very well aware about their student names and their history. At the end of the day, good teaching is all about having fun. If you are not enjoying your teaching, if you're not enjoying your profession, you cannot be a good teacher and your personality cannot be grown. If we say that the personality of a teacher is very good, think about the teachers whom you like the most. Think about any of the face, think about any of the mind that you admire the most in your lifetime as a teacher. You will remember the face of the teacher who are always smiling, who are solving your queries with a proper smile, who are responding to you with a proper positive attitude. You will always remember those teachers. So You must also adhere to these things, that you always wear a proper smile on your face while you are entering in your class. There, you must be passionate about your teaching. You must be having a positive attitude. Okay, so is there any question from the audience till now? Should we go ahead?
No, sir.
Okay. At the very first day of the class, what should the teacher do? You should involve the students quickly, identifying the value and importance of the subject. It is very important. A student always asks why we are studying this particular subject. What is the need of that subject in our practical life? What is the need of subject in professional life? So a teacher must tell them at the very beginning of the classes that the subject is why that particular subject is important in his life, whether it is the professional life, personal life, whatever it is. So you have to correlate, you have to tell the practical example or real life example that are connecting that particular subject of yours with the professional or personal life of the student. You have to set the expectation of yours from these students. And you are also required to ask the expectation from the students that students are having from your side also. So there should be a balance. There should be a two-way communication. Whatever you are expecting from the students must be having some expectation from you also. You have to fulfill the expectation of the students, and students are also required to fulfill the expectation of from their side. You have to establish the rapport of yourself, of the institution from where you are working. And in the very first class, you have to reveal something about yourself in your introduction, very well introduction, that I am this, I am good at this, I am bad at this. And there should be some limitation also, that what exactly should be the information that has to be shared with the students and that has not to be shared with the students. It is really very important because your students are very fragile, they are very vulnerable. So you should be very careful about sharing your information with these students. You have to also establish your own credibility, establish the climate for the class. The climate of the class includes the very first parameter that defines the climate of the class is the discipline of the class. And believe me, the discipline of the class is being formed by the teacher itself from the very first day itself. So you have to tell the students this is your limit. You have to be in your limit. And in this very way, we can make a climate, we can make a positive climate with a positive attitude. So there should be the exchange of information, exchange of the knowledge from the faculty member to the students, as well as from the student to the faculty member. Currently, we are dealing with these students who are smarter than the teachers. Students are also smarter than teachers these days. In earlier days, you are having certain books, certain material from where the teacher teaches the students. But nowadays, students are having all the access to all the information. So one has to be very careful while setting up the climate for the class. A teacher is also required to provide admin information as a general information, introduce the subject matter, and you should also find the common ground from the students. So you and students are always on the same page. It is really very important. You have to analyze it, you have to create this, and you have to find your own way to find the common ground between you and the students, the level of the student, so you can go up to the level of the students. One should not expect that I am at a higher level, students are at the lower level, so I should start my teaching from this level. I will not go beyond this level, whatever may be the deliverables are. It is the prime responsibility and the role of a teacher that he or she should know what exactly is the common ground of these students. There is a certain level of students to which a teacher is required to approach. And from that very level, you have to set a threshold level from where you have to pull these students. And when you and your students are on the same page, on the common ground, there will be maximum exchange of information. These are the three A's of effective teaching: assessment, awareness, and action plan. Assessment, you must have heard about the summative assessment and formative assessments. Have you heard about these? Summative assessments and formative assessments. Summative means you are summing anything. Your summative assessments include your continuous internal evaluation along with your tutorials, assignments, attendance. So these are the regular teaching. These comes in the regular teaching, summative assessments. Now we will talk about the formative assessments. In formative assessments, what we are doing, we are taking feedback from the students by some questionnaire of the previously taught topics. Whatever the topics you have taught them in some previous classes, like you are having some 4 or 5 units of your classes, 4 or 5 units of your classes, and you have completed 1 unit. So what exactly you have to do? You have to form a questionnaire, a quiz sort of thing, through which you can assess your students in such a way that there is a particular feedback of your lecture delivery. Whatever you are teaching in your class, you have to find a way so that you are being assessed whether whatever you are delivering in your classes, those delivery are being understandable or being done in such a way by the students so that there is a particular outcome that can be attained. Next is awareness. You have to aware the students, make aware the students about the subject that you are teaching, each and everything. That this is the topic, this is the thing. You can do it by experiential learning, you can do it by project-based learning. And to follow that thing, you must be having some action plan. Your action plan should include your lecture plan of the whole semester or whole year. And that must be inclusive of your assessment and your awareness. Each and every topic has to be defined in your lecture plan that at this date, at this very date, I am going to teach this topic. At this date, I am going to teach this topic. And after a particular group of topic, I am going to assess the students, whether it is summative or it is formative. With the formative, you can have the assessment of yourself also. With the summative, you can have the assessment of the students. These are the three E's of effective teaching. A teacher must be enthusiastic. There should be engagement of students with the teachers so that you are having proper output as well as outcome. And you have to find a way that is acceptable by the student is education plus entertainment. Now the question arises, are the teachers are there to entertain the students? No, we are not here to entertain the students. But we are finding a way in our education system or in our teaching methodology that your education can be merged with some fun element that your class is not boring or it is not monotonous. So there is a term called edutainment, education plus entertainment. You need to find some of the fun facts of your subjects and you can include in your daily lectures. Believe me, it will help your students. It will help maintaining the climate of your class. A teacher should be a very good motivator of their student. Good teacher teaches, great teacher inspire. So you need to capitalize on a student's existing needs. You have to make students active in participating in your classes while they are learning. You have to ask the students to analyze what makes their classes more or less motivating. It is really very important. Believe me, you need to ask from your students that whatever the style you are using, it is motivating or demotivating. You need to synthesize your presentation and class discussion based on your analysis. You need to analyze your presentations, your class discussions before delivering it to the students. You need to evaluate and modify your teaching methodology as and when required. If you think a way that is not good for students, you are not having a positive feedback, and you think I am not a good motivator in this very way, then you need to change the way of your teaching in such a way that there is a proper outcome and a good feedback from the students. Because at the end of the day, the satisfaction and the positive feedback and positive attitude of the student is the primary concern of the teacher. This is the very realistic thing that most of the teachers are ignoring. Everyone is setting expectation. Like we have said earlier also, that one need to set expectation from the student in the very first lecture of the class, and the students are also required to tell the expectation from the teacher. Your expectation should be high, but your expectation should be realistic also. You must know the level of your students. It is the primary responsibility of a teacher to keep the student to a level where the expectation of the teacher can be met out. You need to challenge the students that you have to be on that particular mode to achieve that particular level. You have to build their curiosity. Why is it happening? When it is happening? Who was responsible? Everything. You need to help a student to set achievable goals for themselves. It is very important that goals should be achievable. If you have set the high expectation, you have set the high level goals for the students. At the end of the day, if the students is not achieving the goal or he is not approaching the proper path to achieve that goal, it will be demotivating for the students. You need to tell students what they need to do to be successful in your particular course. And very important thing, you have to strengthen student for self motivation. If one is self motivated, then nothing more is required. You need to avoid creating intense competition among students. You have to be enthusiastic about your subject and you need to show it. You can motivate students by responding to their work, give students useful feedback as quickly as possible, introduce students to the good work done by their peers. It is very important that students should know what their peers are doing. Be specific when giving negative feedback. Use the indirect approach. Never directly give the negative feedback to your students. And always follow this. You should never use demeaning comment to the students. We are the teachers. We need to teach the student. We need to inspire the student. We need to inspire the students. We need to motivate the students. But never use any demeaning comments to the students. It will affect their minds. It will be permanently stored in their subconscious mind. You can never build a good image of yourself among these students if you're using any of the demeaning comments. Believe me, it is very important. You have to avoid it to be a good teacher. and to improve the personality of yourself. Now, do you agree with this statement that some teaching methods are bad and should not be used? Do you agree with this? No. There is no bad teaching method, just teaching methods are used badly, such that there is no bad teacher, only teaching methodology is bad. From the very first moment, I have started telling you that the method of teaching should be defined. And with respect to whom? With respect to the students, bunch of students. You have to find the common grounds from where you have to start. Perhaps we should say that some teaching methods are bad when used with some students. Some teaching methods are bad for achieving some learning outcomes. Or some teaching methods are bad for some subject area or domains of learning. And some teaching methods are bad when used by some of the teachers. What exactly some teachers are doing, if they come to know the popularity of a teacher is being good in the student, or a student are praising a particular teacher, what they are doing, they are simply imitating or copying their style of teaching. There is the same class, different teachers. Some students are good, some are average, some are below average. Some teachers are very good, some teachers are not good, some are below average, in accordance with the feedback of the students. But how? How is it happening? They're the same bunch of people, same way of methodology, same assignment, same level of assignments, same level of examination. Then why it is happening? Because the way of teaching, the style of teaching is different, and that really matters. Learning activities of the student should include three main components. Those are teaching methods, resources, and strategies. This is known as the big concept of teaching. What exactly is the learning? 10% is what we are reading. We are learning of the 10% what we are reading. 20% we are learning or remembering what we are hearing. 30% of the thing we are learning or remembering of what we are seeing. 50% what we hear and see. 70% of what we discuss with others. 80% of what we experience, and 95% of what we teach to someone else. You must have experienced this thing from the very not being understood by you at the very first class or in the very first class. But if the same thing is being taught by your peer or your fellow student, you can understand it very well. Why is it so? Because if we are teaching that thing to a particular student, then the ratio is what? Percentage is what? 95%. 80% of what? What we are experiencing. That is exactly why we are saying that experiential learning is very important. 70% is what we are discussing, 50% is what we hear and see, and rest is in front of you. So you have to adopt your teaching methodology in such a way that your students are good enough to grab the things that you are teaching to them. Now, look at this image. What is this statement? I expect you all to be independent, innovative, critical thinkers who will do exactly as I say. Don't you think it's an ironical thing? It's irony. It's a contradictory statement in itself. The teacher is saying that I am expecting all these students to be independent, to be innovative, to be critical thinker. Very heavy, far heavy words, independent, innovative, and critical thinkers who can be in what manner a student can be independent, innovative, and critical thinking if they are not being given freedom to think or learn by their own style. And what teacher is saying, whatever I am saying exactly, you need to do the same. Whatever he is teaching, whatever the way he is teaching, whatever the method of solving the problem he is telling, only that has to be followed. Then how a teacher can expect these students that those students will be independent, innovative, or critical thinkers? Because these are the qualities only when we are giving the freedom to these students that they have to develop their mind, they have to develop their own methodologies to solve the problems. Then what should be the major component of your teaching methodologies? There should be presentation, there should be interaction, there should be search. There are three domains or categories of teaching methods, which we known as domains of learning. One is cognitive domain and concerned with knowledge, methods. And methods might include your lectures, small group works, problem solving tasks, and research. While if we talk about psychomotor domain, it is concerned with skills. Methods might include demonstration, individual practices, and coaching. If we talk about the affective domain, it is concerned with the attitude. Methods might include discussions, case studies, role play, as well as simulation. And for the nowadays teacher, it is very important. A teacher must not rely on computer or internet. What this image depicts. Doctor is saying, nurse, get on the internet, go to surgery.com, scroll down and click on, are you totally lost icon? And what is the condition of the patient? Will you be going to a doctor who is following the same pattern? No. So don't over rely on computer or internet that there is a lot of vague information. The process that we are using should be easy and should be stepwise. There should be first step, there should be second step, there should be last step, and number of steps. But your teaching methodology should be stepwise only. Make sure whatever you are giving to your student, whatever you are the message you are giving to the students is not mixed. Can you depict the information or the message given by this picture? Where people are going? Gym. And they are going gym by what? Escalators. Means we are sending these students to the gym and saying that you can use escalators as well. Isn't it a mixed message that one is going for the fitness and using escalators rather than stairs? Yes, it is. So you must avoiding giving mixed messages to these students. Major problem is stress. It is the major problem of the student fraternity, of the teacher fraternity, of the staff fraternity. Everyone is facing stress, whether it is professional, institutional, or personal. Are you also facing this stress? And our main concern is how to avoid it. Take good care of yourself. Very important. Find at least 30 minutes per day for yourself. I'm not saying you must go to the gym, you must go to the walk. No, you must do anything of your choice that calms your mind. It may be talking to your wife, it may be talking to your girlfriend, it may be listening to some music, it may be playing some guitar, anything. But find at least 30 minutes from your busy schedule, from your whole day, that should be dedicated to you only. And that will keep stress at a minimum level. Do it once in your life. And you should maintain a positive attitude. I know it's very difficult to maintain a positive attitude in this negative world, but you have to maintain a positive attitude. Why? Negative plus negative will give you a positive. But you have to avoid this stress because stress is something that will affect your personality in all the way. Whether you are dealing with your personal life or you are dealing with your professional life, you have to avoid it anyhow. And how do you handle stress? Hopefully, not like this. This is the worst way to handle your stress. Give it a try. Be a duck means calm on top and peddling underneath. Means whatever you are struggling, that should not be shown to the outer world. So you have to be calm on top in your attitude. Whatever there is in your mind, you have to be struggling in your mind, but need not to be shown in your face. After writing an angry email, text, read it again, delete it, forget it. Give credit, take the blame. Always be the hardest worker in the room. And most important, attitude is everything. Don't criticize, don't gossip, find a reason to like people. We are always finding the reason to hate people. It will increase your stress. You must find a reason to like people because you cannot avoid it. If you are having some group of people or a particular people who do you not like in your professional life, can you avoid it? He or she will not leave his or her job for your sake. Then what can you do? You will keep on irritating by watching him or her in your workplace? No. You need to find a reason to like him or her. And you only need to remember that particular reason. This is a very good thing in his attitude. I must follow it. You must accept it. And very good thing, you have to accept criticism graciously and thankfully. You must be confident. Confidence and arrogance are not the same thing. There is a very thin line between confidence and arrogance. If you are crossing that line, your confidence is turning out to be arrogance, and you need to avoid it. And at the very beginning, I have said a teacher should be a good teacher, and he or she can be a good teacher only if he or she is a very good learner. If you don't know the answer, ask, man. Don't hesitate. Don't be ashamed. I don't know. I will ask you. Everyone is learning in this life. There are so many things. There is a universe. In the universe, you're living in this earth. On the earth, you're living in this particular area. In the continent. In the continent, you're living in this particular country. In the country, you are living in this particular state. Have you ever think of it? What exactly are you? If you don't know anything, ask. Life is too big. And there are so many things that need to be learned. So these were some of the points. You can give it a try. And if you will give it a try, believe me, you will be happy when, and there will be a very change in your personality, positive change. So it was all about from my side. Thank you all. Thank you all for being a patient listener. If you want to ask anything, you can ask.